understand the foundational aspects of your job, get really good at that, and now you can kind of do that without blinking. Once you move, you now become an expert at that craft, right? You can continue to do that work in any environment, understand some of the edge cases. And the Army had this process of where, even in downtime, you're always checking on your readiness. And there's a term called PMCS, Preventative Maintenance Checks and Services, and this PMCS and inspections or whatever. Even when there wasn't any work to do, we'd always maintain our systems, our equipment, and ensure they were able to be utilized at any given moment. We also did it on ourselves, our physical fitness. We're always checking in on that. We're checking in on our accomplishments and our personal growth. That's all documented. During training missions, there's a pre-planning phase to assess the risk of the likelihood of a trainee being injured or dehydrating, or if there's overcast, what's the likelihood of lightning striking this facility? That's all like pre-planned and prepared and in the entire report before the commander can execute on a training plan. And then even after the training is done and no one gets hurt or injured and things don't go by the wayside, there's what we call a hot wash, is essentially a retrospective, right, in the product world, which is like a mini retro. And then there's like a formal retro, which is called an AAR, after action review, where you actually document what went well, what didn't go well, changes that need to be made, who's responsible. And what does that sound like a retrospective, right? So when I got into tech, I was like, wow, this sounds all so familiar. It's just not as like stiff. You're not having to sit in a row with all your soldiers and have all your gear on and wait for your turn to talk. In tech is essentially that's happening so rapidly. And I think if we can hone in on that, I think there'll be a much better outcome. So the Army taught me that. And I think it's fascinating how us as humans, if we can operate in that type of mindset and within those parameters, get a lot more done, and a lot more folks will be happy about just the process of everything within startups.